Hello, and welcome to the inaugural Facebook Live Crete Carrier Schaefer Trucking Driver Town Hall meeting. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. This is an exciting event to be able to get out and communicate to more and more of our drivers out there across the country. Last week I had a couple of driver meetings in Indianapolis and one in Columbus, and was able to have some face-to-face, one-on-one contact with all of you, with many of you, but certainly not all of you. So this gives us an opportunity to get out there and provide some more information to the rest of our driver team. Let me tell you a little bit about how this is going to work this morning. First off, I'm going to start off by giving you a little bit of general information about what we're seeing at the company here right now and some plans for 2017, how some things are going. Then at the beginning here, I'm going to take and go through some of the questions that you had submitted in advance in response to our posting that we're going to be having this event. This will give you some time for those of you watching live to go ahead and post some more questions, and I have in the room with me here a couple of fine people from our marketing communications teams that will feed those questions to me. We'll hope to limit this to about a half hour. We know everyone has a busy day, and I want to try to cover as much information as I can, but certainly look forward to doing these events in the future as well to provide you more information. So first off, I want to start off by just saying thank you for a great 2016. 2016 was our 50th anniversary at Crete Carrier, and we certainly tried to take the time to celebrate with all of you, try to get you involved in many activities, give you some gifts out there to really thank you for making us what we are today. All in all, 2016 was a very good year for us. We won more Carrier of the Year awards in 2016 than any other year, and that's a direct attribution to you. You all are out there, are the face, the voice of Crete Carrier and Schaefer Trucking to our customers. And it was because of your great quality of service, your great safety record, your on-time record, your presence to our customers and their customers that made us win those awards. So thank you very much. We're very proud of that. Because of that, we had a successful year as a company, and we are part of a company that thankfully our owners share with us. And part of that successful 2016 was a $7.5 million profit sharing contribution to all of our, as employees, profit sharing accounts. For those of you who are eligible, that means just this last week you received in your profit sharing account a contribution equal to approximately 3.5% of your overall pay for last year. You can go ahead and look at your accounts right now online through the Union Bank and Trust online view for your 401k and see what that contribution was, and we've also mailed a statement to your home in order for you to have that information when you get home. So 2016 was a great year, but we can't rest on our laurels, as they say. We need to look forward to 2017. 2017, we're looking forward to another very strong year. For you, it's all starting off with hopefully by something very positive with that pay increase that happened on January 21st. That 1 cent pay increase across the board for all of our over-the-road drivers is a way for us to say thank you for 2016, but also to help encourage you for our success in 2017. And 2017 has started off really pretty well. You know, January in the trucking industry is generally a slower month. However, we're proud to say that we had a pretty strong January. In fact, in January, the miles on average for our Crete over-the-road driver were 3% greater this January than in January of 16. And on the Schaefer side, it was even better. Our miles for our Schaefer over-the-road drivers in January were 6% better than in January of 2016. So I wanted to let you know that we're working hard not only to increase your mileage pay, but also your miles. And some of that success has come through the recent success our sales team has had in bringing on new customers. In fact, on the Schaefer side, we brought on a new customer in late 2016 that has provided us an additional 200 loads a week, which 75% of those are drop and hook. So those are the types of loads that we know we need to help keep you busy every day and keep you moving. As we look forward to 2017, we're going to continue to invest in equipment. As you all know, we have some of the most modern, well-maintained equipment on the road. We're going to continue trading out our tractors on that 4-year, 400 to 450,000 cycle. This year, we're going to be getting over 1,000 brand new tractors. Most of them will be the Freightliner Cascadias. We will be getting some International ProStars. The Freightliners will have the Detroit engine in them. The Internationals will have the Cummins. All of them will be double bunks. All of them will have the 1200 watt inverters, and we want to keep to provide the amenities we can to keep you safe and comfortable out there on the road. Finally, just want to say that as we go into 2017, you know, the benefits that we've provided throughout the years are staying the same. In fact, the only thing we've done is add some of the benefits, particularly in the dental program. And with that addition, we had no additional cost, though, in the dental coverage. And on the healthcare side, we had very minimal premium increases in our deductible for singles starting at $1,000, and co-insurance all stayed the same. So all in all, we were able to manage our costs very well in benefits, so that throughout 2017, you should have the good quality benefits you need. So that was just a little bit of information about the company, what we see for 2017. So now I'm going to start answering a few of the questions that we received in advance, as I mentioned. Kind of go through a few of these until we start getting some questions in, and hopefully provide you some good information. So the first question we have today comes from Mike Foote. He asks, can we get better seats in the trucks? It might be a good time to talk about some of the changes we have in trucks. So I did talk a little bit about what we're doing with equipment. I just want you to know that we listened to the drivers over this last 12 to 18 months and on the input that we had on the seats. And what we had found is that the majority of the drivers were liking the seats we had in the ProStars. Those seats are a national seat, a national brand seat, and so we have now, starting about 9 months ago, are using that seat in every brand new truck that we get, whether it's a Freightliner or an International. It's coming with that national seat. It's the top of the line national seat as far as terms of adjustability and support. So we're making that investment in that seat. We know that's where you spend a lot of time every day, and you need to be comfortable and you need to be safe. So appreciate that question. Next question I have came in from Angela Crossman. Angela asks, it's been suggested that the higher-ups have a monetary interest in diagnosing drivers with sleep apnea because we make money on the CPAP machines, and also that then she goes on to ask, how can a driver, if they have sleep apnea, get off a CPAP machine? Well, first of all, I want to say that there's nobody in the company, nor the company at all, that makes money off of sleep apnea. In fact, we have invested over the last 4 or 5 years over $3 million in the expense of the sleep apnea program. And that cost truly is an investment. We know that your health, your safety is very important to you and to those with whom you share the road. We want to ensure you can maintain that level of health, maintain that level of safety in order for you to maintain your livelihood and continue to be a driver. We saw the challenges you were facing as you were going through DOT physicals, and a lot of the examiners were asking more questions about sleep apnea, requiring sleep studies, and that we needed to find a way to sleep study efficiently and effectively. And there weren't very many good ways out there to do that unless we made an investment as a company. So we have done that. We pay for the cost of your full sleep study. We provide a mechanism for you to get a CPAP device or an APAP device at a low cost that you can pay over time, so you can continue to drive in a very short period of time and take care of your own health. Now, with respect to how, if you do have sleep apnea, how can you get off that APAP device? We do have drivers that go into the program that do get off the device. What they do is they generally get off the device by being healthy. By being on the device, they have more energy to exercise, to do other things correctly, and lose weight. If they lose enough weight where their apnea goes away, they go in for another sleep study. If the sleep study confirms their apnea goes away, they go off the device. So we do hope that for those of our drivers that are in this program, and we have thousands of them that have been in the program over the years and currently have well over 1,500 drivers in the program, that they understand the health benefit that this does have. I have family members that have sleep apnea. I've had the sleep study. I know the effects it has, and certainly want to continue to provide that benefit to drivers. So thank you for the question. Next question I have here comes from Travis Mitchell. What changes do you expect to see in the next 15 years for the industry with respect to whether it's new regulations, autonomous trucks, changes in freight, etc.? Well, Travis, that's going to have to be a pretty shiny crystal ball for me to be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen over the next 15 years. But I can tell you what we're kind of expecting over the next few years here. And one is that we will continue to see our industry evolve with respect to how freight flows. There's a couple big dynamics going on out there, the whole e-commerce phenomena, whether it's Amazon or others out there that are changing some delivery patterns, some freight timing patterns. We have to adapt to that. There are some places where that's causing shorter length of haul, more expedited type freight. But there's still a huge amount of core business that we do, the longer length of haul, the over the road, the irregular route, that we will maintain our focus on as a company, because we know that's the type of freight that really provides the best benefit to you as a driver. Another phenomenon going out there is the opening of the widening of the Panama Canal. So a lot of the imports are shifting around to the east coast and the Gulf Coast of the country. So those ports are becoming busier and busier. So we're watching how that is continuing to change freight patterns. And we'll continue to adjust to that and work with our customers. However, as we still talk to our core customers out there, you all know who they are as you haul our freight every day. You know, they still have a large amount of base business that they need to get from their plants to their distribution centers and then to their customers. And we feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to be core players for those customers because, as I said before, the great quality service you all provide and being, making us carry over the years for the likes of, Kimberly-Clark and General Mills and ConAgras and all the other great customers we have, that we're going to keep that core amount of business. We may have to shift with some of their distribution patterns, but we'll be there, and we'll be there for the long haul, as they say. Finally, with respect to autonomous trucks, technology is exciting. We can't ignore it. But with respect to autonomous trucks, from our discussions with our manufacturers, with the regulators out there, and with others, autonomous trucks will continue to push. We'll continue to push ahead with them. Technology industry is going to do that. However, I see this coming in phases, and we're really seeing the first phases of that already, and have seen that. On our trucks, for example, we have many of the pieces of technology that go into autonomous driving, with our on-card system, with the forward-looking radar that provides that adaptive cruise control, the collision avoidance system in that. That's kind of a step towards the autonomous trucks. It's the safety features that will continue to evolve to be in that truck there as an aid to you. And realistically, with what's going to have to change with our infrastructure and with technology, a full autonomous truck, as far as being able to fully replace a driver, I don't see that coming for a long, long time, probably perhaps not even in my career. As we evolve, though, in my career, I may see something like the airline pilots saw. Many years ago, the airlines started implementing autopilot, and there was concern that amongst the pilots that their jobs were all going to go away. Well, you have all seen how that's evolved. We still have 2 pilots flying, every large jet out there for the airliners, because the autopilot is a tool. We still need that human interaction, that human decision making. You're ultimately responsible. You're still the captain of your ship, so to speak. And I see that being that way for a long, long time. Let me answer one more question here that we had in advance and see if we have any that have come in live here. So the 4th question I have here is, what is being done to improve communication between departments? When a driver's having issues out on the road, it's frustrating to have to jump between departments and re-explain everything. And that question came in from Randall Alger. Randall, that's a great question, and it's something that we ask ourselves every day, because we know that communication is either the key to success or the key to failure. If we don't have proper communication, easy communication, full, effective communication, none of us are going to be successful, and certainly it's going to be frustrating for all of you. So this is a timely question, too, because about 9 months ago, we started some cross-departmental groups to try to answer this very challenge. How do we become better at communicating internally amongst our communication, amongst our departments, to make things more streamlined for you? And then how, when dealing with people from the outside, not only our customers, but more importantly, our drivers, how do we make their experience with us more streamlined and the best experience we can? So we're still in the process of working through that. We have taken some steps to have your asset manager have more ability to do some things for you directly, to do some things by making sure that they're being involved with people from other departments, whether it's our fleet departments, our road service departments, to provide better internal communication so you don't have to be the person that's having to do that double or triple communication. And to also just help the internal team here know more where they can get the best answers for you. With having a large team, there's some benefits to that we can provide that as ways consistent freight and customers and good quality equipment. There's some downside to that, in that we have to have a lot of people involved. And sometimes when you get more people involved, we don't always do a good job of knowing who's responsible for what. And so that's a big push that we're putting on in communication this year, is to making sure that our internal team members know exactly where to go to answer your questions or where to get you to answer the question you have at the time. So yes, we know it's something we need to improve. We're working on it, and I hope you see some positive improvement here in the near future. Communication just like this today is a piece of that. We want to make sure that we're providing you information up front too that can help avoid you needing to have to go through and bounce around potentially internally to find the right answer that you're looking for. So with that, I'm going to take a couple of the new questions we have coming online here, and let's see how we can answer some of these. So the first question is a question that I get at almost every driver meeting, so I appreciate this. And the question is any chance on turning the speed of the fleet back up to 65? I appreciate that question because I understand how you all feel out there being governed at a certain speed, and particularly sometimes below the 65. So let me talk a few things about that. First of all, the obvious things about being governed at 62 is that in working with our original equipment manufacturers, our truck manufacturers, on what is the optimal fuel mileage that we can obtain from the trucks, that optimal fuel setting with our trucks is 62 miles an hour. So we also know that being at 62 miles an hour is a great safety benefit for us. So that is how we got started at going to the 62. So when we worked with the manufacturers and the changes in the trucks, and they came to us and said 62 is the optimal fuel mileage and safety level, we did some testing. So what we did at that time, we had trucks set at 65 miles per hour. So we changed a number of our trucks, over 100 of our trucks, down to 62 miles per hour and tested their miles per day versus the trucks that were at 65 miles per hour. And over a 3-month time period, the drivers in the trucks that were at 62 miles per hour a day averaged exactly the same amount of miles that those were at 65. The reason for that is, as you know, you do not spend all of your day driving. So on average, you're probably spending 9 to 10 hours of your day actually driving. There's some days you're spending the full 11. There's some days where maybe you're getting 7 or 8, just depending on how your day went. But on average, you're not going to be driving that full 11 miles an hour, full 11 hours per day. The other thing is that we know that you're not always able to drive at that top speed. We know that there's many states that have truck speed limits at 55 or 60, so you can't go up to 62 or 65 anyway. And we also know that you're going to have driving through urban areas and otherwise that are not at top road speed. When we take that all into consideration and looked at this, our drivers did not have any impact on their miles. Yes, some days the drivers at the lower truck speed were driving 7 to 9 to maybe 10 minutes more than others to get those same miles, but they weren't running into hours of service issues, and at the end of the day, we're still getting the same miles. And from that benefit, we were able to get the savings that we had in overall fuel costs, and because of that, we were able to do profit sharing. As I mentioned before, 3.5% of your pay going back, 3% going to have to pay being paid over to you in profit sharing is a direct result of initiatives like this, where we can save money and then share that back with the rest of the company. So thank you for the question, and I appreciate your understanding. So the next question, sleep studies. Are they required by us, or are they required by the FMCSA regulations? Well, the answer to that is they are required by the FMCSA regulations. So as you all know, there are regulations with respect to your health. Those health regulations have provisions in there with respect to pulmonary medical and health issues. Sleep apnea falls into that category. Now, there's not a direct regulation that says exactly what you have to have in order to be tested for that, but the FMCSA has provided guidelines as to what the DOT examiners need to look at, and then when they need to test somebody for sleep apnea. So we follow those guidelines as to with respect to when a driver needs tested. We work very closely with DOT examiners on those requirements. And again, as I said earlier, we really, knowing that this was coming down the pike with respect to DOT examinations, we got out ahead of this, building the sleep labs at our terminals, paying for the sleep studies ourselves, so that what we were seeing before we had our own sleep studies is if a driver was required to have a sleep study, they would be out of service for up to 3, 4, 5 weeks because they had to go back on their own, get a sleep study, find their own sleep doctor, start getting treatment, show compliance for that. So by starting our own sleep labs, we're able to get a driver in for a sleep study one evening, If they're positive, get them the treatment they need the next evening, and they're back out on the road the following day. So we took a 3 to 5 week out of service period down to a 2 to 3 day out of service period. So we tried to do this as a benefit for all the drivers out there, knowing what the DOT requirements were, what the guidelines they were issuing to with respect to that, and quite honestly also though seeing the positive impacts that being treated for sleep apnea has had on many of our drivers out there. I talk to drivers every day that say they didn't know really how poor of sleep they were getting until they started getting treated, to those who have lost 50 pounds after being treated, and that they're now no longer have hypertension and other things. So it really is rewarding. I know it can be a challenge. Again, I mentioned I have family members that have sleep apnea, have gone through that, and it's an adjustment period, but it is well worth it. So thank you for the question. Next question is, do we have outward or inward facing cameras? And this is a question from Eric Anderson. Let me tell you what we do with respect to cameras. We have right now in our fleet approximately 500 drive cam camera systems. We use these cameras as an aid to drivers, an aid to keeping drivers on the road, an aid to coaching the drivers that may be having some challenges in order to continue their livelihood. These cameras do have outward and inward facing cameras, but let me tell you a little bit how they work. These cameras do not constantly record. What they do is when there is an event triggered, similar to as when there's an event triggered for on guard or for some of the Omnitrack's critical events, that camera captures a 20-second frame of video. It's 10 seconds before the event and 10 seconds after. That 20-second video is then broadcast to DriveCam, to their center. It doesn't come to us. They review that video. Often the video is nothing. You may have had a car come in, cut you off. You reacted very positively. You got the safe following distance you needed, and the camera shows exactly that. You did a great job. So the camera provides that type of information, moves on. We as a company never see all the videos that come in. DriveCam looks for those. Where if there is an event that you've done a very good positive result, we get that video then, and we've seen literally hundreds of these videos since we've started this program about 2 years ago, where you have done everything you could to avoid an accident and did. Others we have where drivers have been involved in an accident, but it clearly shows that it's not the driver's fault. And I can tell you, after looking at these, it's been very good for these drivers that have had those videos, because I have been through my initial career here at Crete Carrier was as general counsel, so as attorney. So I was involved in seeing a lot of the accidents that our drivers were claimed that they were responsible for. Others claimed they were responsible for, and we had no proof, hard proof, one way or another, to show whether or not our driver truly was responsible for the accident or not. Most of the time, as you know, the drivers, the truck drivers out there, the professional truck drivers out there in the world, are not responsible for the accidents that occur. However, there's this public perception that you are. The videos that we have seen have exonerated so many of our drivers, and it's been such a positive benefit that even though we only have them on about 10% of our trucks, we have those drivers that have those videos when they've come to the point where they no longer need those camera systems in their trucks because they've shown that they can be the good quality driver. They want to keep them in there because they've seen the benefits of it. So, as I mentioned, we have these in about 10% of our trucks. We're going to continue to watch that, find what's the good balance of using those cameras, what's good for you, the driver. That's, again, the whole goal here is to improve safety, to improve what we can do for you to ensure that you're out there in a world that's fair and safe for those around you. Next question. Any chance we can get steps on the old trailers? This question came in from Dave Coulter. Dave, I appreciate that question. At this point, we have not gone back and started to retrofit old trailers. What we've decided to do instead is accelerate the purchase of our new trailers to get the older trailers out of the fleet. So just this year alone, we're going to buy over 2,000 brand new trailers. Last year, we bought over 2,400 brand new trailers because there's other benefits that are coming with these new trailers just beyond the step. The basic benefits, as you've mentioned, are the step back in the ICC bumper to help you get into the trailer. We've also added a grab handle. I know at the beginning we had some initial challenges on where those were placed. We worked with the manufacturers to get those handles placed in a higher up position so that it's easier for you to get your load locks on. So we are doing that. But the newer trailers are also coming with the auto inflate system for our tires. That again provides benefit for you out there on the road, making sure all the tires remain properly inflated so we do not have blowouts that can occur sometimes, or just flats that could cause you some delays out there. So we want to get those systems in there. And the newer trailers are also a little bit lighter, a little bit more durable. So rather than investing in retrofitting older trailers, we are investing in more and more new trailers. All right, got another list of questions here. Do we have various home time options? And this came in from multiple drivers have asked this. We do have various home time options. I can tell you the home time options that are available really depend upon where you live. In the right parts of the country, we have some fleets that are home every night. We have some that are home every 2 to 3 nights, some that are home weekly, every 2 weeks, and every 3 weeks. And we have some drivers that prefer to stay out 6 or 7 weeks at a time. So that's really, we have those options out there. We do know that home time is very important to all of you. And we continue to work with our customers to look for more ways that we can provide better options for home time, better freight density into areas that can help us get you home more often. And so as we do that, we add on more fleets that provide different home time options. So what I can tell you is if you have questions about what our home time options are, if you drive for us right now, talk to your fleet manager. They'll know what fleets we have out there. They know what the options are. They can go through that with you. If you're looking to come to Crete or Schaefer, contact our recruiting department. They have information with respect to every fleet we have out there. And so we do have many options. We have some dedicated fleets across the country that we're hiring for right now as well that provide not only the home time options, but that consistent regular freight, same pickup delivery locations day in and day out. So please give us a call, talk to your fleet manager, talk to our recruiting if you have questions regarding that. I have a question here with respect to communication with respect to our nights and off-hours crew, and that came in from Mike Moranzetti and Angela Crossman. Thank you for those questions. We know that this is a time period where time of day, anytime after really 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and then on weekends, where generally if something happens, it's a challenge. Typically our shippers and receivers, their personnel are all serve regular service hours, regular daytime hours, and that's where we have most people here. That's when we get most of our freight tendered. That's when we make most of our appointments. That's when we do most of our dispatches to you. So we have a large group of people here during the day to meet those needs. At night, then what comes up, there's fewer customers that are open, fewer pickups and deliveries. So to be efficient and economical, we do have to reduce the number of staff. But we know there's a right balance that we need there too. And I can tell you in 2016, we added about 6 positions to our nights and weekend staff because we knew we needed to be able to provide more support to you. But then the bigger thing is we're also looking ways to be able to do more for you at night. Now, whether it's being able to provide that level of service, answer your phone calls, answer your mobile comm messages timely, that's one thing. To be timely and respectful in that. But the other thing is to be able to get you an answer. And often that challenge comes in that finding somebody at the customer, finding somebody at the shipper, finding somebody at the receiver. And thankfully, a lot of our shippers and receivers we have been working for, and they are providing more off-hour options on their side too. So we can actually not only just communicate with you, but solve your problem. And that's our goal this year, is to continue to work with our shippers and receivers in order to be able to, when we have some of those challenges that you face at nights, to actually not just get them communicated at nights and say, hey, okay, we'll have to resolve this tomorrow, but try to do what we can to actually work with our shipper, work with our receiver, and get that challenge solved that night. All right. We are, amazingly, we're at the end of our time here. Time goes fast. This is I can tell you from my end here, it's a little bit different. I'm used to doing driver meetings where I'm sitting there in a room with all of you, and I get a lot of interaction. Here, it just seems like all I did was talk, which I know that's what I did, but hopefully what I said was useful to you. We do appreciate everything you do each and every day out there. We know we're not perfect. We know there's things we want to improve upon, but we do really truly try to be the best that we can be, and know that the only way we can do that is by having good quality drivers that are working as a team with good quality shop, office, members, good quality customers, good quality freight. And that's what we're going to strive to do every day to make your life better out there. As I mentioned earlier, we are seeing a time where our freight is growing. We do have our, 2016 was somewhat of a challenging year for everybody out in the industry. Towards the end of 2016, we saw great improvement. Again, a lot of that was because of the great work we're doing with our customers. And those customers now are coming to us and asking us, just a month ago, I was in a meeting with a customer asking us, how can you do more for us? How can you haul more of our loads? And so we need more drivers. We do need more drivers out there. And so we are getting more freight to get more drivers. And you might think, well, that's a little bit counterintuitive. If you have more drivers, that may impact my miles. But really, it doesn't. And let me explain a little bit why. If we have more freight in an area, so say, for example, we have more freight in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you're unloading in the Knoxville, Tennessee area, and say right now, on average, we have 15 loads out of there a day. That's 15 loads that are available to match your needs, the direction you need to be going, if you need to be going home, the amount of hours you have left, etc. If we can grow that to 20 loads a day, that's 5 more loads that may more perfectly match your needs. That may now be the load from Knoxville to Dallas that will get you home that we don't have today. So we're working to continuously provide various options, more options in each one of our main freight areas to provide those needs for you to help keep you moving. So you're our eyes out and ears out there on the road. If you see good quality drivers out there that you know would make a good Crete or Schaefer driver, please refer them to us. You do get a referral bonus, $500 upon their hire, another $500 after they're with us for 30 days. That's a great way for you not only to get the extra pay you're getting through the miles we're getting now and the increase in pay, but through the referral bonus. So be our eyes and ears. Look for those good quality drivers and send them our way. Thank you very much. Be safe out there, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.